watch the last 6:45 of the game.
You read it in my story
Okay, that's
today,
where I thought I read.
yeah.
That's where I thought when I read it. I
course.
wanted to make sure, and that basically he thought in those possessions they missed 11 straight shots. That he thought there were only 3 bad shots.
Yeah, 3 bad possessions is what
yeah.
and he said there was 9 wide open shots,
Yeah.
and he's talking about the last 6.5. That drought was the last 5:23, something like that. One of the things yesterday was when I went to Lou Williams about it, and I said, Doug said you guys looked at that. What did you think? And he was shocked. He said it was really eye-opening. All the little things that we're not doing right. He said the casual fan will see that we're missing shots, but they don't see that we're missing screens and we're missing where we're supposed to be. He said it was really eye-opening. So maybe you'll see some tightening up tonight.
So they don't do that often then? Sit and watch the last 6 minutes of a game?
No, Doug is really into picking something out. If the team needs a boost, he might. I thought he was going to pick out spots that they played really well in the last part of games and show that to him, but he didn't. He decided to use this as a teaching tool.
Well, and what was interesting about it, what was interesting that Doug said was, despite all the problems that they're having with winning games, I was intrigued by the fact that he still managed to pull a positive out of it, because he said, I think teams are going to watch what we did against this team defensively and use our game film in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I mean, they did play well against them.
They played
really
very well. And look, even if the Sixers, and this is how I was thinking of this, it's funny, if this game had happened early in the season when the Sixers were playing well, people would understand the loss to Oklahoma City. It's Oklahoma City's arguably the best team in the West.
Well, they have the best record in the league right now, right?
Absolutely,
28.
yeah. And many of us, myself included, picked them to go to the NBA Finals this year. So a loss to them isn't bad, but they did. And Andre Iguodala played very well against Kevin Durant. For the most part, the Sixers played very well. It's just at the end of the game they couldn't hit a shot.
Well, and that was the other thing. Doug also said that he was so distraught, I think this was over the break, that he called Billy Cunningham and talked to him for 90 minutes. And one of the things Billy said to him was, look, you guys got to get healthy and you got to keep your confidence, and that those two things might be related. Are you of that opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you have your full team, you've won this year.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's right with Hawes. And when Elton Brand's been in, that's true.
If that happens, and if that happens, confidence comes back just knowing that you have the same group together that got you out to that 20-9 record, and then you go from there. Whether it'll happen or not, whether Hawes, he was riding a bike yesterday at practice. We weren't allowed to talk to him. He was at shoot-around this morning. So he's not doing basketball activities until next week. But.
Well, they had said, so basically it's March 12th is what their target date is, unless there's a setback. But here's the odd thing, and he's only going to be able to play 5 minutes a quarter. Is that just ramping up until he gets some sort of conditioning in?
I would hope.
Okay.
I don't know. It just seems weird to me that, and I want to ask.
Every day we keep talking about this guy.
But I said, I even asked somebody. I said, well, who came up with this 5-minute intervals? And nobody really answered.
Okay.
So I don't know if the doctor thinks that's what's best. If it's Spencer, if it's his agent, I don't know. But
I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, you would think that. I guess it is just to get him out there, amp him up until he can go full bore.
Do they? And we had Mark Zumoff on this morning, and he had what I thought was an interesting line is the players now just have to act like he's not coming back. I mean, that's just the way you have to, and I agree with that. It's because, but you do look at their record with him, and you wonder, because the guys who are backing him up should only be coming in small spurts. I mean, Lavoy Allen, he's a rookie. We watched him plenty at Temple. You know what you're getting out of him, but he's not a guy you can rely on game in and game out.
And here he is starting.
Exactly.
You were hoping he could get some minutes this year, and he's starting. So it shows how thin they are at the front line. Elton Brand, unfortunately, with the hands and all, and he's aging.
And he's trying. I mean, you watch him.
I said this the other night. He went for 10 and 10 against Oklahoma City. It took every ounce of energy. He had to get that.
And he didn't talk after the game, right? And he's usually
he wasn't in the locker room, which we were talking about yesterday.
You mentioned that,
yeah. He wasn't in the locker room, and I haven't seen Elton. I just saw him for a second today, but I didn't talk to him.
Did he do shoot around, or you don't know?
Yeah, he did. He did do shoot around. Doug didn't mention anything on the injury report as far as Elton goes, so he might just have been getting treatment.
What are the chances you think they make a move for a big man? I mean, I know the Cayman's the name that's out there, and he's been on a tear of late.
Yeah, he has.
What do you think the chance? If you had to handicap it at this point, a little bit more than a week out.
Well, I'll say this to Sixers fans, that if they made a move, it's not going to be the move the end-all be-all move that you want. I'm not talking Dwight Howard, but even somebody as serviceable as a Chris Kaman, I would be surprised if they did something like that.
Would it take a lot to get him?
I don't know. You know, this is terrible, but I know I looked up Kamen's numbers before as far as contract, and I don't know them off the top of my head.
I'm sorry, we need to have a calculator and a degree from Morton to figure out who would match.
You have to go that way, and they don't want to part with all the young kids.
No, I get that.
So.
What's real quick before we get to Pieworthy? What's Evan Turner's future with this team?
Yeah,
I think that says it all.
Yeah, I just see a lot of immaturity there.
Yeah.
I think Doug Collins has to reel him in to be a professional basketball player and all the ins and outs that it entails being a professional basketball player.
Because there is talent there.
There's definitely talent there. There's just some wide-ranging stuff that, to mask that talent, or to get that talent all together, you have to do a lot of things. I don't know if he's doing everything.
All right. It is Friday, so it is Pieworthy. And our choice for today is no surprise. Last night, Matt Reed had 2 goals. First was a deflection. The second was an absolute beauty. This one right here is a deflection. Second one was an absolutely gorgeous shot. He's tied for the league now with 18 goals, tied for the lead for rookies in the running for Rookie of the Year. And this was a guy who didn't even know he was going to make the team, an old rookie. I think he's like 25.
Yeah.
So, you know, good. That's the one positive about the Flyers this year has been the growth of how much the rookies have.
What do they have? 10 different players that have scored their first goals this year?
Yeah, and they've really used 8 a lot, young guys. So, I mean, it's worked out well for them. Well, I want to thank Bob Cooney from the Daily News for being my guest on lunch break. Coming up later on Comcast Sportsnet at 5 o'clock, AT&T Daily News Live. We got Wells Fargo Sports Night. A lot of great stuff surrounding Wilt Chamberlain's 50th anniversary special starting at 6:30. Then we got Sixers pregame live at 7:30, followed by the Sixers, Warriors at the Sixers at 8, and Toyota Sports Night at 11. Thanks for joining us on lunch break. Have a great weekend, everybody.